Hey guys, Dinosaur here back again doing another movie review, and today we'll be reviewing Avengers Endgame. Now, Avengers Endgame is directed by Anthony and Joe Russo and features a huge cast, so if you guys want to skip me just rambling a bunch of names, just skip like 20 seconds or something. So this movie features Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Jeremy Renner, Josh Brolin, Paul Rudd, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Brie Larson, Bradley Cooper, Mark Ruffalo, Karen Gillan, Don Cheadle, Gwyneth Paltrow, Zoe Saldana, Reen Russo, and Tilda Swinton. So the plot of Avengers Endgame is that this movie takes place right after Avengers Infinity War, like literally straight after where Avengers Infinity War picked off. And so in the beginning of the movie, so as me saying the plot, it's probably gonna spoil the movie too. But I'm pretty sure I won't even have to worry about spoilers because I'm sure everyone has seen this movie already. This is the movie to make the most money, actually, like to make the literally like the world's biggest movie. So I'm pretty sure everyone has seen this movie already. So I'm sure I won't have to worry about spoilers because I'm gonna go into a lot of spoilers. But I'm sure a lot of you will be fine because you already have already seen this movie. So the plot of this movie is that everyone got vanished in the end of Infinity War, and then like everyone's all depressed about it. Like all the Avengers and everyone else in the world, like all the survivors from the blip, they're all depressed that they lost everyone, that all their whole family is dead, and like everyone literally lost everyone. They're all sad about it, and so yeah, everyone's just depressed about this. But then Ant-Man was in the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, or the end credits, like he got stuck in the quantum realm because like they were doing like this little thing for the quantum realm, like the Pims and Ant-Man, and so they were supposed to bring him back, but then they vanished before they could bring Ant-Man back to the real world. So he stayed in the quantum realm for 5 years, but it wasn't really 5 years for him. For him, it was 5 hours because time in the quantum realm works differently. And so he ends up getting out of the quantum realm because this rat ends up freeing him. And so from there, like he's very confused, like what's happening and all this stuff. And then he starts to learn about what's happening, and so he ends up getting this crazy plan to try to go back in time and try to get all the stones before Thanos does. He like the Avengers end up teaming up again to try this, to try to go back in time to try to get the Infinity Stones, like go back in time and get the stones before Thanos does. And once they get the stones, like the one of the Avengers is gonna try to snap their fingers too, and hopefully it'll bring everyone back. So yeah, that's basically the whole plot of Avengers Endgame. Very simple plot. So now, do I like Avengers Endgame? Yes, I love Avengers Endgame. This movie, I'm just gonna say it. This is my favorite movie in the whole MCU, to be honest. And I always said that the first Avengers was my favorite MCU movie, but then once this movie came along, this movie literally beat the first Avengers for me. And I would even say this movie is even on my top 10 favorite movies too, actually. And I didn't review it last year because if you guys remember last year, I was reviewing most of my top 15 favorite movies, but there were like a few that I didn't get to review because they were all a part of a series of upcoming movies. So yeah, but this is one of the reviews I didn't get to review, but now I get to review it. So yeah, this is on my top 10 favorite movies, and I love this movie so much. And I remember when I saw this movie in theaters, I saw it with the Captain America shirt. If you guys watch my videos a lot, you may notice that I always like wearing a Captain America shirt. But that shirt I would wear that shirt right now, but it's dirty though, and yeah, when I saw this movie in theaters, that shirt looked a lot more cooler than it does now. Because if you guys see the videos, it looks all gray. But back in the day, it used to look like a really beautiful blue. But then one day I took it to the pool, and then once I got out of the pool, it took away the colors. So yeah. But I remember when I saw this movie in theaters, best theater experience ever. Like, the best time I've ever had in the theaters. Well, besides from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But this was literally the best time I had in the theaters. And I always said that the best movie of 2019 was this or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, it was a tie between those two. Yeah, and I would definitely say 2019 was my favorite year. Not just for movies, but for my favorite year in general, honestly, that I've been alive. So yeah, and then I remember like before this movie came out too, like I was like marathoning all the MCU movies for the first time because like before this movie came out, there were some MCU movies I hadn't seen, so I watched all of them to get to this movie, and that was one of the smartest decisions I ever made, to be honest. Because then once I got to this movie, like I was all caught up on everything that's happening in the movie, and I was able to know everything that's happening. Because there was a lot of people that went to this movie that did not know what was happening with the time travel stuff, but I did. Yeah, like most of my family, when they went to see this movie in theaters, like they didn't know about the time travel stuff, because they hadn't seen any of those movies. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Let me think. Okay, let's get on to the main focus here. So first off, let's talk about the characters to this movie. Now, the characters to this movie are amazing. I love all these characters, and the reason I say I like this more than Infinity War is because this movie feels better and like more of a relaxation, and this movie has a lot more character development. It feels a lot more real than any of the MC movies do, than more real than Infinity War. And what else is there? And the end battle too. So yeah, so those are the reasons why I like this more than the Avengers Infinity War and the first Avengers. So yeah, but I would definitely say this like MCU movie was the best character development from the whole MCU, to be honest. Like, this is the most human we've ever seen the Avengers. So let's start off with Iron Man. Now, I really love Iron Man in this movie so much. Like, Iron Man or Captain America is my favorite character in this movie. Like, it's always a debate on which one's my favorite Avenger, honestly. But I really love Iron Man in this movie a lot. How in the beginning, like he was stuck in space, like he was just floating in space in the spaceship, for like a month trying to find Earth, and he got all skinny too because when Thanos stabbed him and he had no food. Excuse me. So yeah, and what was I gonna say? Let me think. And then once he got to Earth, like once. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this too. Like, I really like the beginning of the movie too, where they kill Thanos. Like, where they're trying to find Thanos and they're trying to get the stones back from him. But then once they find Thanos, like they end up finding Thanos right away because they noticed that he had already used the Infinity Stones in this one planet. So once they find him, like they notice the stones are gone, and then like cause Thanos destroyed the stones, and that makes them really depressed, and then they're like, he's gotta be lying, we gotta tear this place up, and Nebula's like, my father's many things, a liar's not one of them. And then Thanos is just like, thank you daughter, perhaps I treated you too harshly. And then Thor literally chops his head off with the Stormbreaker. With that scene, I was super shocked. Like, I was not expecting Thanos to die this early. So yeah, I thought that was an awesome start out to the movie. What else? Oh yeah, and I really liked how beat up Thanos was from using the stones too. Like how beat up it showed him too. Yeah, that really showed the humanity in Thanos. That Thanos, like, even he couldn't resist the stones. Let me think. Anything else I should say? Oh yeah, let's get back to Iron Man. And I also really love how Iron Man has a daughter in this movie. Like, he ended up having a daughter with Pepper, and she's like 5 years old, and he really loves his daughter so much. Like, and he's always so sweet to her. I just really love how sweet he is to his daughter. Like, he's the sweetest father ever. Yeah, and then yeah, he's just the most chillest and funniest, sweetest father ever, and I really wish for a dad like that, honestly. Let me think. Anything else I should say? So yeah, and then I really like how in the beginning, like when they want when the rest of the Avengers want Stark to help them, they want Tony to help them with the whole time travel stuff, but he doesn't want to do it because he's too scared, because he doesn't want to lose again. He doesn't want to go through that phase again with losing, and he's just too scared to do it again. But then what makes him change his mind is he sees a picture of Spider-Man, and that scene's so beautiful where he sees a picture of Spider-Man, and then he ends up going downstairs and sees if the time travel thing could be possible, and it actually is. And this was a really funny moment too. He was like, shit. And then his daughter was like, shit. That scene was funny. And then I thought this was really cute too, with the daughter. I love you 3000. That is so adorable. And I sometimes say that to my parents too. Let me think. Just Tony's daughter I just found so adorable. Let me think. Anything else I say about Tony? So yeah, and I really like he really wants to help them out too. Like once he and then I really like how he gives Captain America his shield back too, cause he lost he didn't have a shield and because he dropped his shield in Civil War, but then he gave it back to him and he was like, well, I thought I should give this to you before Morgan takes it sledding. Oh yeah, and another thing too is this movie is really funny too. Like this movie has a lot of comic relief to it, and it all works for me. Actually, like all the jokes literally land for me, and this movie makes me crack up at times too. Let me think. Anything else I need to say about Tony? So yeah, and then I really like towards like towards the second act, like he's starting to like know a lot about the time travel and like he's getting really invested to it. Like Tony and Hulk, I would say, are the smartest Avengers. Easy actually, like easily they're the smartest Avengers. Let me think. So yeah, and then I really like he's really passionate with like trying to get the stones back too once they travel back in time, and he cares a lot for not having the past versions of themselves not see him. And then I really like the scene where he where Tony and Cap go to the 1970 and then he sees his dad again. Like Tony sees his dad in the old facility where Captain America got trained. Yeah, I thought that scene was very emotional. How he was so happy to see he was so happy he was so scared to see his dad, so nervous, and then he even almost forgot the Tesseract too. And then he talks about them with about the kids and all of that, and like how much the mom is pregnant, and they're talking about names too, and then Tony hugs him and he's like, "Thank you for everything you've done for this country." Let me think. Anything else I should say? Um, so yeah, and I just really like how he connected with his dad a lot. Like even though like the dad didn't know that was his son, like it was still a very emotional scene for him. And then there was this other thing where the dad was like, that guy looks familiar. Like, have we ever seen him before? And then Jarvis is there too. And so from there, like that's probably like a hint that Jarvis was a real person. So they would always that's why they programmed like a computer version of Jarvis. And so there's been a lot of theories that Iron Man's daughter might do that with Tony too. That actually be really cool if we see that come to life. Um, Let me think. Anything else I say about Iron Man? Okay, I think that's it about Iron Man for now. I'll talk more about him once I talk about the ending. And then let's get on to Captain America now. Captain America was awesome in this movie. Like I just love how human he was in this movie. Like he was very like emotional, very like he definitely felt the most he definitely felt like him and Black Widow felt the most depressed actually. But Iron Man, he was still happy though. Like even though like everything like the whole world was like half of the world destroyed, like he's happy because he has a family now. Like he's the only happy Avenger there. But Captain America, I really like the scenes where like the scene in the beginning where there's the whole like meeting, like the whole like their therapy thing or something like that. They're talking about like how sad they are, and then and then Joe Russo even makes a cameo in that scene too, where he says that he went on a date with a guy, and then the guy started crying when they gave out the salads, and he started crying once they gave out the desserts. Like they were just sad because of like how much they've lost. And I think the other guy said that he was sad because of his family or something like that. And then and then I thought this was a really beautiful speech that Captain America gave out, where he was like, even though all hope is lost, we have to make the best of it. Like we still have to live it, or else Thanos would have killed us all. I thought that was really beautiful. But like the only ones that can't live with it and like stick try to like make the best of it are the Avengers. Like they can't do it at all because they're the ones that failed. And I thought that was a very very emotional thing this was a very emotional theme that this movie touched, was failure and how much failure can like affect people, like how much like failure can like cause so much depression, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so I thought failure was a really good like theme to this movie, like how much failure can like what's the word, like how much failure can like really like control someone, like if that makes any sense. Like sorry, I'm not so good with themes. Like how much failure can like really like hurt someone. Yeah, yeah, that was a very beautiful theme this movie had. And a lot of people say that they found the first act to be slow. I didn't find it to be slow actually. Like I absolutely love the first act of this movie. I love every single act of this movie. The first act was very emotional, very beautiful. The second act was very fast. It was very like thrilling, and it was very ongoing, and literally the second act like had like you were invested with the second act so much. And the third act is just wow, the third act. But I'll get to that once I talk about that though. And I thought this movie had an amazing pacing too, because this movie does feel like a movie that feels like beginning, middle, and end, and it is timed very well. And this movie goes by really fast for a 3 hour movie, like unbelievably fast. I would say this is one of the quickest 3 hours ever, honestly, if not the quickest. So yeah, this is like if I want to kill 3 hours, I just put this movie on. That's how fast this movie goes by. So yeah, and so yeah, like I said, it does feel like a movie that feels like beginning, middle, and end. With the beginning being like them being depressed and them trying to assemble the team and all of that, and then the middle being the whole time travel stuff, and then the end being the end battle. Yeah, so I would say the pacing was beautiful. Let me think. So yeah, Captain America, he was awesome, and then I really like he believes in this time travel stuff, and he'll do anything to try to save the world again. They'll even go through time travel and collect the stones, like if they have to, and he like he's literally all into this plan, and I love that a lot about him. He's so passionate in saving the world. I would say he was the most passionate in saving the world, honestly, and he had a lot of awesome moments too. Let me think. Is there anything else I say about Captain America? Let me think. Oh yeah, and then I really like towards the middle of the movie too, the whole Captain America's ass situation, like how big his ass is. Like the his old suit did nothing for his ass, like, and then Ammon's like, your ass looks great, Captain America. As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass. Yeah, I thought that was the funniest part of the movie. Uh, let me think. Oh yeah, and I really, really love the scene where Captain America versus Captain America. That whole scene was fucking awesome. Where President Captain America fights the past Captain America, but past Captain America thinks he's Loki. So yeah, that whole scene was so awesome. Where they were fighting each other with their shields, they were punching each other, and then past Captain America even was choking him out. Yeah, that whole scene was fucking awesome. Let me think. Anything else I should say? Anything else I should say about Captain America? So yeah, and then I really like how he still keeps Peggy's like picture too. Like, we haven't seen Peggy's picture since the first Avengers, and but he still keeps it though, and I love that a lot. Let me think. It's also about Captain America. Oh yeah, and I really like the scene where Rocket, where he gives out the big speech like three stones, or six stones, three teams, one shot. And then Rocket's like, he's really good at that, and Ammon's like, I know, right? uh, Let me think. Anything else about Captain America? I should say. I'm not gonna talk about the how the story ends for him. Not just yet. That'll be when I talk about the ending. Anything else I should say about Captain? Oh yeah, and then I really like how he still misses Peggy too. Like he's still really missing Peggy. And then I really love the scene where he sees Peggy, where he goes into Peggy's office and he sees Peggy in the other room, but Peggy doesn't see him, and he's just really sad about it that he never got to live his life with Peggy. So yeah, that scene I thought was really emotional. Anything else I just say about? Okay, I think that's it about Captain America for now. And then another character is Hawkeye. Now, usually I don't give a shit for Hawkeye, and I don't really care for much of what's happening with him. But I would say this movie actually made me care for Hawkeye. Honestly, like I really cared for him so much. Like I was super surprised on how much I was rooting for him and feeling for him in this movie. And I really loved how the movie begins with him with his family, like him having like a lunch with his family, and then he's even training his daughter on being a bow and arrow, on like doing bow and arrows too. But then his family vanishes, And then after that, for the last 5 years, he's been killing a bunch of people. Like he's just been like this criminal killing a bunch of people because of how he just went kind of crazy after his family died. And then I thought this scene was really cool too, where he was fighting the Chinese guy with the sword, like a sword fight, and then he kills the Chinese dude by slicing his throat and then stabbing him. He's like, please don't kill me. I'll give you anything you want. What do you want? And he's like, what I want, you can't give me. Whoosh. Powerful line, honestly. Anything else I said about Hawkeye? And then I really love how passionate he is on this plan too. He even is the one. He even becomes the first one to do the time test, the time test run. Because Ant-Man's like, I don't think I'm ready for this, but then Hawkeye's like, I am. And then he was really willing to do that. That he actually went back in time. Like he was the first person to go back in time, and he goes back to his house like 6 years before. And then he was almost about to talk to his daughter, but then he went back into the present time. Let me think. Anything else? So yeah, just Hawkeye, and then I really love the scenes with him. Okay, I'll talk about that once I talk about Black Widow. But yeah, his relationship with Black Widow I thought was so powerful in this movie. Anything else I say about Hawkeye? So yeah, he had a lot of really cool moments too. And then let's get on to the villain to this movie. Past Thanos. Past Thanos. Wait, I'm not gonna talk about him just yet. I won't talk about him just yet. Actually, like not just yet. Let me talk about some other characters, and then I'll get on to Past Thanos. Okay, so let's talk about Thor now. I would say Thor was super funny in this movie. Like they really changed Thor in this movie. Like I would say ever since Thor Ragnarok, Thor has always been having like the MCU has always been so hard on Thor and changing his character so much and having him be so emotional. Yeah, and I would say here, like, he becomes a really emotional character too, where after he kills Thanos, he's been super depressed for 5 years, that he's been drinking nonstop beer and alcohol for the past 5 years. He's been drinking alcohol, eating pizza so much, that he literally became so fat. He looks like melted ice cream. Yeah, and I thought that was so funny, and I remember when I saw it in theaters, like everyone's reaction to that scene, like even I was cracking up too. Let me think, but he's still worthy of with his Stormbreaker and his hammers though. So yeah, and I would say he had a lot of really funny jokes too, and I love the scene where Hulk tells him about like their plan. He's like, we have a chance to fix all this. We can go back before Thanos, and then literally a long moment of silence occurs, and then he tells Hulk, "Don't say that name." And Korg is like, "Yeah, dude, we don't really say that name here." Yeah, so yeah, and I just love how he's so scared of that, and he's so traumatized by that. He doesn't even want to be reminded of it, and even all the Asgardians know it too. Let me see. So yeah, and there was a really cool a cool message with him too, that even fat guys can be cool too. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool theme to this movie too, was that even fat guys can be very emotional and very cool too. Fat alcoholics can be very cool too. So yeah, that was another really beautiful theme to this movie. So yeah, and then this whole movie just turns Thor into a pure alcoholic, and then he has a lot of funny scenes, like the scene where they're explaining the Infinity Stones, like he's just dead asleep, and then they're like, is he sleeping? And then he's there, and then I forgot who says this, but they're like, no, he's just dead. And then this scene where he's explaining the ether about the stuff with Thor: The Dark World, and like no one is interested, like they're all annoyed, but the only one that's interested is Ant-Man. And like that's basically like the MCU, like that's basically like the MCU's thoughts of Thor: The Dark World, like their fan base of it, like Thor: The Dark World, like no one's interested in it, but there's one person that's interested in Thor: The Dark World. Yeah, so yeah, I thought that whole scene was really funny. Like he just kept going on, and everyone was like, "Okay, dude, you're just drunk. Do you want some Cheese Whiz?" Let me think. Anything else I just say? Oh yeah, and he had a really emotional scene in the time travel parts, like the second act, where he sees his mom. Like, and another thing with Thor too is that Thor has nobody. Literally, Thor has nobody, no parents, no brothers. All his family is gone, and he's so sad about it. And but when they go back in time, he gets to see his mom, and like that was so sad because he really did need to see his mom after all he's been through. But the mom like knew that he's from the future, but she knows about all this time travel stuff. She didn't have like she wasn't confused about it. Like she knew what it meant, and so she was talking to Thor and all of that. Like Thor was saying um like the mom was saying, like, a loser, no you're not, a failure, yes absolutely, but that makes you no different than everybody else. And he's like, I want to be, but I don't want to be like that. She's like, I don't think we have a choice. Like, I forgot what else she says, but that scene was just so emotional. So yeah, the time travel stuff had a lot of emotional scenes too. And then I really love this scene too, where once that ends, he gets his old hammer back, Mjolnir, and then he's like, I'm still worthy, and then they go back in present day. So yeah, I thought that scene was dope too. Anything else about Thor I should say? So yeah, and even though he was fat, he still looked cool with both hammers on him. Yeah. And then I can't wait for his fourth movie, actually. Like, I can't believe Thor is going to get a fourth movie now. That's going to be so exciting. That comes out next year, and Christian Bale is going to be the villain. I cannot wait for that movie. Jane Foster's going to be back, too. That movie's just going to be so big. Yeah, that's definitely one of my most anticipated movies of Phase 4. So yeah, but I still hope that they still keep Thor being fat, and I hope they make that movie a comedy too, like Thor Ragnarok, because it's a movie about a fat Thor. Yeah, so yeah, Thor, he was an awesome character too. And then Ant-Man. I really liked Ant-Man a lot in this movie, how they picked off Ant-Man from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, once he gets out of the quantum realm, like, he's super confused, like, what the hell's happening here? Like, nothing seems normal. Like, everything seems so depressing. And then, like, and then this was a really, really emotional scene that always gets me crying. He goes to his daughter's house, like, his old house where he used to live, and then he sees his daughter all big. Like, she's so big. She's in high school age now. And then, like, the daughter literally is crying so much, and so is he, and then she hugs him. How sad is that? How you think your daughter is dead, how you think your father is dead for the past 5 years, but then he ends up right at your doorstep. Literally, that scene always gets me crying. So I would definitely say that's the best scene of Ant-Man, actually. Like, out of the whole MCU, too, like, that's definitely the best scene involving Ant-Man. So yeah, and then I really liked how Ant-Man basically saved the world. Ant-Man was basically the one to save the world, and that was cool too. How he came up with the whole time travel stuff. If it weren't for him, like, where would the world be at with the MCU? Let me think. Anything else? So yeah, and Ant-Man had a lot of really funny moments here too, and then like he was the one, like, even though he had his plan and he was really passionate on saving the world again, like let me think. Anything else I say? So yeah, and I just really like how he has a bit of pin particles with him, but they only have a bit of them for one round trip each. Like, they can't waste these. Like, they need these for certain certain purposes, and like they only need them for the time travel stuff. Like, he has to use these pin particles very wisely, and so yeah, I found that cool too. Anything else I should say about Ant-Man? Let me see. So yeah, and I really like how passionate he was with saving the world too. And then let me think. Anything else I should say? I think that's it about Ant-Man. So yeah, Ant-Man was cool in this movie. And then let's get on to Black Widow. I would say Black Widow had beautiful character development in this movie, because in the beginning, like, I would definitely say she's the one that's most depressed out of all the Avengers, because she had nobody. Like, she had a family, but they didn't really care for her much, and she never really saw them much, like, at all, honestly. But this was her only family. The Avengers was her only family, and so having her whole family die made her really sad. And so obviously she cannot, like, make the best of it. Like, she's definitely the one that cannot make the best of it the most, if that makes any sense. Let me think. Anything else I should say about Black Widow? So yeah, I just thought all those scenes were really sad, and she's also another one that's really passionate on saving the world. Like I would say they were all super passionate with saving the world, and she was another really passionate one too. But I would say she was one of the ones that wanted to save the world the most. Let me think. Anything else about Black Widow? And then I love her whole relationship with Hawkeye too. I already said that, but and then she has a really beautiful character arc in this movie too. How she's all depressed and all of that, but then by the end of the movie, she chooses to kill herself for all the people that died for the stone. Yeah, that whole scene was so sad. That scene makes me cry every time where she dies in Vormir, where she falls off the cliff. Like Hawkeye wants to be the one to die, but she wants to be the one to die. But then Hawkeye almost dies, but then she ends up saving him, and she ends up being the one to die. And then I would say that this scene was more sadder than in the Infinity War, than Infinity War, because this is my number one celebrity crush dying. Like she falls off the building, she falls off the cliff, and then yeah, she falls off the cliff and she saved everyone. I thought that was so sad. Yeah, just tears everywhere. And then the very next scene, Hawkeye has the stone, but he's still really sad. Yeah, Black Widow had a really beautiful character arc in this movie, like I said. So yeah, and I would literally say this is the this was the perfect end for her character. No, anything else I just say? Okay, now we get on to Captain Marvel in this movie. Um, Honestly, I've never really been the biggest fan of Captain Marvel. I'm not even gonna say much about her. She's just there. Like she's just there to be like another like she's just there. Like, I mean, I wouldn't really call it a flaw that she was barely in the movie. Like for what the movie needed to be, I would say she was in it for enough. Because this movie was just trying to be the end of the Infinity Saga and the end of our main heroes, and the newest hero is just to the side. So yeah, so I would say like for the moment she was in this movie, like it was good. Like yeah, so for what this movie needed to be, like it was perfect. Like the time she had in this movie was perfect. But all the scenes with her were pretty cool. Like when she brings Iron Man to Earth and she helps them fight Thanos, and then at the end of the movie too, like she destroys Thanos' ship. So yeah, she had a lot of really cool moments in this movie, but no character at all. So yeah, she was fine. And then we get on to Rocket Raccoon. I thought Rocket Raccoon was yet again really cool. How he was he was sad, but he wasn't that sad though. Like he still kind of made the best of it, but he was still kind of sad that he lost the only family he ever had. But he's still willing to save them though. And then he had a lot of really funny moments too. Let me think. Like the scene where he's taking out the reality stone out of Jane, and he looks like he's about to kill her. Like he looks like he's in a horror movie trying to kill a girl. And then I thought the scene was really funny too, where he slaps Thor, like where Thor's like losing it, and he's like having an anxiety attack, and then he slaps him. Anything else I say about Rocket? And then when Ant-Man's like, I've never been to space, like I really want to go to space, and he's like, it's like a little puppy wanting to go to space. You want to go to space, puppy? I'll take you to space. So yeah, Rocket, like he was yet again awesome in this movie, and then he was so awesome in the end too. Let me think. Anything else I just say? So yeah, Rocket was cool. And then we get on to Hulk, what I love about the MCU. I've said this in the past with my other MCU reviews, but all these movies literally like change Hulk. Like every single MCU movie, starting with Avengers: Age of Ultron, like they all change Hulk as Hulk goes along. Because in Age of Ultron, he ran away from Earth on the Queen jet. And he was catching feelings for Black Widow, like he was in love with Black Widow. But and then in Thor Ragnarok, he could talk, and he wanted to stay on Sakaar. And then in Avengers Infinity War, he was not even in that movie because he was too scared to fight again because he got his ass kicked. So he just stayed inside Banner, Like he did not make, like he wasn't even in it much, just for the beginning. But with this, now with this movie, we have Hulk being Banner and Hulk put together. I find that really clever and really funny. How we have Hulk, but with Bruce Banner's face, and he can talk, and he has Banner's voice too, and he has his intelligence. He mixes the brains and the brawn together, and this is what it makes. So yeah, I thought that was awesome. And then this scene was really funny too, where he first gets introduced, where he gets a picture with the little kids, like the little kids get a picture with him, but then Ammon's like, "Do you want a picture with me? I'm Ant-Man," and then they're like, and then they're like, "Oh, it's fine. No one knows Ant-Man." But then Hulk's like, "Yeah, yeah, take a picture with them. Like they want to take a picture with you." And he's like, "Nah." They're like, "No, we don't want to." And then Ant-Man's like, "It's fine. I don't want to either." And then they keep making such a big deal about it, like a whole argument. That scene was hilarious. And then I really like how he was so smart with the time travel stuff too. Like he knew how to use the quantum realm and all of that, and like he didn't know how to use it, but he understood the technology though. And yeah, and then I just find it really cool how we see like a big Hulk like working with computers and working with technology and talking and all of that. Let me think. Anything else I should say? One thing I don't get is like why Black Widow and Hulk's relationship never comes back in the MCU. It doesn't even come back in this movie either. But for what this movie needed to be, it was fine. Anything else I should say about Hulk? Oh yeah, and then then I really like the scene where he's trying to get the time stone from the ancient one. And then like he's talking to her like about like how why he wants the time stone and all of that, and she's like, your new reality could benefit from yours, but mine's not so much. And he's like, no, like if you give it to me, we'll bring it back at the moment it was taken, so chronologically it never left. And then she keeps saying no to him, but then she gives it to him once he says like, oh, like if it's so important, like why did Strange give it away? She's like, what? Strange gave it away. He gave it to Thanos willingly. And then she's like, why? I don't know. Maybe he made a mistake, or I did. And then she gives him the time stone. She's like, I trust you, Banner. I trust you. Yeah, I thought that scene was super emotional. And then like he was able to get the time stone and then go back to present. Anything else to say about Hulk? So yeah, Hulk was really cool. And then I really like towards okay, I'll get to that once I talk about the ending. Anything else I should say? Oh yeah, and then Nebula was another really cool character too. How she lost her sister and she lost everybody, but and she was like, yeah, and she was sad about it too because she was already starting to get along with her sister and the Guardians too. And then and then I really like when they get to the time travel stuff too. Like she becomes the one that's the most aware of like her father, her sister, and her finding the stones. Like the past versions of themselves are trying to find the stones too, so they should steer clear. Like she knows about it. And then like even past Thanos ends up capturing her, and then they end up like and then the past Nebula goes to the present day instead of the present Nebula. Let me think. Okay, so seriously about Nebula. So yeah, and Nebula had a lot of and Nebula she had a lot of cool fight scenes in this movie too. And then I really like her relationship with past Gamora too. How she tells Gamora about how Thanos gets the Soul Stone, and then that makes Gamora like turn good and makes her like turn against her father. So yeah, those scenes I thought were really emotional. And then War Machine was cool too. I mean, he didn't have much of a character. He was just there to be like another person to help them out. But I thought but I thought he was cool. Like I like the end, like how he has a War Machine Buster suit. And then he becomes the one to take the Power Stone back to the present time. Anything else I should say? I really like Pepper in this movie too. And then towards the end of the movie, she has her own Iron Man suit too, which I've always waited for a moment like that ever since I played the first Lego Marvel game. Because if you guys played that game, like it shows Pepper in like this cool Iron Man costume, which I played that game when I was like 7, 8 years old. So I've been waiting Pepper to get her own suit for a while now. And then, but I would say, the way they made her suit was awesome. And then, any other characters I should say? I think that's all the characters. Oh yeah, let's get on to the main attraction now, past Thanos. Honestly, I would say I like past Thanos a bit more than that Thanos in Infinity War. I would say he was a lot more evil in this movie. Like he's literally pure evil in this movie. In the other one, he had some good in him, and he was like he thought what he was doing was good, and what he was doing was good for the universe, and then like it would make the universe be in peace. Like he thought this would bring peace, but it doesn't. But this Thanos is pure evil, and he'll literally destroy the main timeline. Like he'll destroy the main timeline and enjoy doing it, and he'll want the stones just for himself to destroy that timeline, like that whole timeline, and then he'll have all the stones for himself. So yeah, I just thought Thanos was was literally like, I don't want to say evil again. I want to think of another word. He was very menacing. Yes. Literally like Thanos was, like I said, he's awesome in this movie. Yeah. And then I really like how like he ends up finding out about the whole present day stuff, and like what happens to him in the future and all of that, and how he ends up going into the main timeline. So yeah, I thought those scenes were really cool too. Where he's like looking through like Nebula's memory files. Let me see. So yeah, Thanos. Yeah, he was cool in this movie. So yeah, I think that's all the characters to this movie. So yeah, all characters were awesome in this movie. And then let's get on to the the scenery to this movie. Like I thought that the scenery was really cool actually, and this movie I would say mostly took place in the Avengers Mansion, but that was a fine setting. Like that was a cool setting actually. Like yeah, I thought that was a cool setting, and then like the whole scenery towards the ending I thought was beautiful too. And the effects are awesome in this movie. The effects are mind blowing in this movie. These effects like look so real, so eye popping, and yeah, these effects like you believe in this movie with the effects too. And then this movie is also really colorful too. Like there is so much colors in this movie. Like their suits look colorful. Like all the stuff towards the end looks so colorful. Like the Infinity Stones. Like there's so much colors throughout this movie, and it's unbelievable. Now let's get on to the soundtrack to this movie. I would say this was a major improvement from Infinity War, honestly, because in Infinity War, the soundtrack was good in Infinity War, but wasn't the most memorable, and it was very dark, kind of depressing to hear. But with this soundtrack, it was beautiful. It was it was just heartwarming. The soundtrack was literally so heartwarming. It was so satisfying to hear. Like literally like this, and then um sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. Like the whole soundtrack I would say literally carries this whole movie. Like the soundtrack just like every time like the soundtrack comes along, like it's just so beautiful to hear, and you're just into this movie too with the soundtrack as well. And then the ending to the movie too. Like I even have like four songs from the soundtrack into my Spotify list, such as the Portal song at the end of the movie, which I would say is the best like theme in the whole MCU, honestly. So the Portal song was awesome, like so beautiful to hear, and I love hearing it from time to time. And then I really like the song too, where Black Widow dies too. You know the sad song, like that song was very emotional too. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about actors in this movie. Like, for performances were awesome in this movie. For performances were great. You really believe the actors with these performances. Like, they all give it their all with this movie, and literally, like performances are amazing. And not one dull actor in this movie. Not one. Like you believe in this movie with the performances too. And this movie actually feels really real too. Just like I just thought I should say that. Let me think. Anything else I just say? Let me think. See. Let me see. Oh yeah, and this movie did get very suspenseful. So like this movie like really raises your anxiety a lot, especially towards the end, and it all works so much. Like this movie literally keeps me on edge from the second to third act, and yeah, this the whole suspense and the thrillness works so much. Let me think. Anything else I should say about this movie? So yeah, and I should have mentioned this earlier, but I really like the whole time travel stuff in this movie. Like the whole time travel stuff is basically like it's giving you a look back at the previous movies before we say goodbye to the Infinity Saga. Before we say goodbye to the Avengers movies, like we have to get a look back at their previous movies. So yeah, I thought the time travel stuff was really smart. And then let me think. And then the time travel stuff, I thought. So yeah, I thought the time travel stuff was super awesome in this movie. So yeah, time travel stuff was very necessary, and literally like one of the best plots in the MCU actually. And Loki really, the Loki TV show really dives in on this too. Which I've been watching the Loki TV show. I haven't finished it yet. I'm on the fourth episode though, but I will have a review for that soon though. Uh, Let me think. So yeah, the second act was cool. The first act, I already said before, was beautiful. A lot of beautiful moments. And then, okay, let's get on to the third act now to this movie. I love the end battle so much in this movie. Like, and then I really love the scene where Hulk snaps his fingers. Like everyone's debating, like who's gonna snap their freaking fingers. Like at first Thor wants to do it because he's the strongest, because he's made of lightning. But Hulk's like, lightning will protect you, buddy. I have to be the one to do it. And so he ends up doing it because he's the strongest and biggest out of the Avengers. And so, like, at first he's in so much pain. And then they're like, talk to us, buddy. Are you okay? And he's like, I'm okay. And then he barely manages to snap his fingers. And then from there, Ant-Man looks outside and he sees that there's like beautiful trees and like birds. And everything seems so peaceful. And then even Hawkeye's wife calls him too. And then Ant-Man's like, guys, I think it worked. And then like it went from really beautiful and emotional scene to a very like suspenseful scene, like a very you did not see this scene coming. Like Thanos literally explodes all of the Avengers headquarters, and like everyone is like scattered throughout this whole mess, but then Thanos like ends up arriving there. And then the Infinity Stones, like the Infinity Gauntlet, is like Hawkeye ends up finding it. And he has to be the one to be in charge of it for now. But then all of, like not all of them, but like most of Thanos's like monsters, you know, his little monsters in front, like they were in the Wakanda in Infinity War. Like, they're all after Thanos, and I thought this scene was really scary. How Thanos like shot the arrow, like the light arrow, to see what's coming, and all the monsters are coming. Like this scene was so scary and so thrilling, and he was barely able to get away from all of them by exploding them and cutting them with the sword. And then even past Nebula dies because President Nebula shoots her. Like she keeps telling her like, you don't have to be this. She's like, I am already this, and she shoots her. And then even Gamora ends up turning good too. And then like Iron Man sees Thanos. Thanos just waiting there. He's just waiting for their arrival, for the Infinity Stones, and then they're all ready to fight Thanos again. And Thor's like, well, let's come to an agreement. We kill him properly this time. And then he gets both hammers ready. And then they all end up fighting Thanos. Like, Thanos, like, gives a big speech. And then they all end up fighting him, like, all three of them. And this fight scene was so awesome. And then while all this is happening, like, everyone else is just scattered and drowned through, like, the piles and rubbles of the headquarters being destroyed. And then and then the scene was really cool too, where like they're fighting him, and then Thor's trying to get Mjolnir because Thanos is stabbing Thor with the Stormbreaker. He tries to get Mjolnir, but it doesn't go to him. It goes to Captain America. Literally, wow! Like that was super shocking. That was a huge surprise right there. And I remember when I saw it in theaters, everyone was clapping. Even I was too. I remember when I saw this movie in theaters, towards the whole end battle, I was clapping really, really loud. Like, with, like this. Okay, I'm not gonna like impersonate him. I'm just gonna give you guys an example like that. But like if I like do it hard enough, then it'll be really really loud. So yeah, I was definitely I would say I was the one that clapped the loudest, honestly. Let me think. And then he ends up like fighting him. He ends up fighting Thanos with the hammer, and he can even make the lightning with the hammer too. But then, but then Thanos ends up beating up Captain America, and he even rips his shield in half. And then he tells him like, "Well, all I, all like all my years of conquest, like every planet I've destroyed, like all like every single, universe I destroyed, it was never personal. But what I'm about to do to your stubborn, annoying little planet, I will enjoy very very much, literally, shocking, super shocking." And so, but then like he gets his whole army ready. He gets literally his whole army ready. His flying monsters, his big people, his and literally everyone. And then even though like all hope is lost, Captain America is still ready to fight this with this broken shield. And that's what I love about Captain America is like even though all hope is lost, he still knows there's still hope. But and then huge amounts of hope come when Falcon gives him a call and he tells him on your left, which is a callback to the Winter Soldier when he was running a mile with him and every time he caught up to him he was like on your left. But this is much more cooler, and I would literally say Falcon's on your left was much more cooler and much more like appealing, and then he said on your left, and then literally Black Panther is the first one to, because everyone comes back alive. Everyone who vanished in Infinity War comes back to life. Everyone. And then Black Panther was the first one to come alive because like Doctor Strange like literally like uses his portals to bring everyone back to this battle. Everyone comes back. The whole Guardians of the Galaxy comes back. Spider-Man comes back. Wasp comes back. Bucky, Groot, Wanda, everyone. And then Wakanda's like, he brought Ben. And then the whole music in that scene too just made the scene super, super, like, fantastic, super spectacular. Like, if that makes any sense. I would just say it's just fucking awesome, that scene. I would literally say the scene where they all come back, Avengers Assemble, is definitely my favorite scene of this movie. And definitely one of my favorite scenes in film ever, actually. Like, in film in general, that is one of my favorite scenes. And then everyone is ready to fight Thanos' army, and then Captain America's like, Avengers! And he gets Mjolnir, and he's like, assemble. And then everyone fights the whole army. This whole fight scene literally put a huge smile to my face, and every time I see it, it always gives me anxiety, and it's always, catches my breath. It always takes away my breath with this scene, literally. And it always makes me hug myself, like shake myself, because of how cool and suspenseful this whole scene is, like how surprising the scene is. Like I would never suspect a scene like this to be in the MCU ever, honestly. Anything else I should say about that scene? So yeah, and then I really love when like Hulk, like I think like Hulk, oh no, it's Iron Man. Like he ends up fighting one of the big goons, and then he like drops him, and then Ant-Man squishes him, and then this scene was really sad too, where Spider-Man goes up to him and he's like, I remember I turned into dust, but I must have passed out because like I woke up and you weren't there. But then Doctor Strange was like, it's been 5 years, and they need our help, and he does the orange sparkly thing he always does. But then as he keeps talking and talking, Iron Man just hugs him. Such a sad scene. And then Peter's like, this feels really nice. But then throughout this whole scene, they're trying to keep the Infinity Gauntlet far away from Thanos as possible, and they're trying to take it to the quantum realm, to the time machine. And then, but like they already destroyed the quantum realm, but he has one more time machine, and that's in the van. And then I really like how Wasp and Ant-Man team up again too. And then once Cap gives Ant-Man an order, Wasp is the one that says, "I'm on it, Cap." Let me see. And then I really like when Wanda fights Thanos too. She's like, you took everything from me," and he's like, "I don't even know who you are." And then he literally almost chops her in half, but then I think I think one of the one of his people stop her or something like that. And then I really like this scene too. A lot of people found this scene very cheesy, where Captain Marvel is gonna take the Infinity Gauntlet to the time machine, and then he's like, "How are you gonna get through that big crowd?" And then I think her name's Akoi, the Wakanda girl. She's like, she's not alone. She has help, and it literally shows every single female Avenger. A lot of people think that scene's cheesy, but I think that scene's really cool actually. Like I think that scene like literally women literally women should have so much like respect. So yeah, that scene was really cool. Let me see. Anything else I should say? About the end battle. Oh yeah, and then there was a lot of callbacks to the other movies too, like where Black Panther takes the gauntlet. He's like, Clint, give it to me. So yeah, Black Panther now cares that his name is Clint. And then I really like how Valkyrie even has her horseback too, and then the Ant-Man is so like can easily like kill one of the big flying monsters. I forgot what they were called, but he's easily able to kill them by just one punch. Let me think. And then like Doctor Strange's people is covering like the missiles that Thanos' the ship is having, but then Captain Marvel destroys Thanos' ship. And then I really love the scene where Thanos he gets the gauntlet. He gets the gauntlet, but then like he was almost gonna snap, but then Captain Marvel stops him. But then he punches Captain Marvel, like he takes her away with the Power Stone. But then like he was almost gonna snap, but then Tony takes away the stones, and then when he snaps, like you think he's gonna snap, but then it's just a blank. And then Tony Stark is like, he says, "I am inevitable," and then Tony's like, "And I am Iron Man," and he snaps with all the Infinity Stones and kills all of Thanos' people. That scene was so cool, yet so sad, because literally, the best Avenger literally just died. Everyone's favorite Avenger just died. He sacrificed himself to save the whole world from Thanos and all his people, like the most dangerous people in the universe. And he did the right thing. It was so sad. And that whole scene where they all cry for him, where Peter and Pepper are literally crying so much for him, and they're all like so sad that he died. That whole scene was so sad. And I would say that was a really wise decision that was a really cool character arc for Iron Man too. Anything else I just say? Anything else I just say about the end battle? Let me think. So yeah, the end battle, definitely the best end battle on the whole MCU. Let me think. And then I really like the whole funeral they have for Tony Stark too, with his casket. They have the first thing and the thing in the first Iron Man, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. And then with his funeral, like the whole Avengers are there, the whole Guardians of the Galaxy are there. Literally everyone from the MCU is there. Even Harley from Iron Man 3 is there too, and Nick Fury too. Such a sad scene. And then I just love seeing how all the Avengers are starting off with their lives now that they brought everyone back, and hope lives again. Like, and then I love the scene where Hawkeye is just looking at the lake, and he's like, I wish that there was a way we could tell her that we won, that we did it. And then like he's talking about Black Widow obviously, and then Wanda's like, she knows Clint, like she knows. And then Thor even ends up leaving with the Guardians of the Galaxy too. He's like, well, for the first time in 1,000 years, I don't have a past. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. What else happens? Let me think. And then even Morgan Stark, like the daughter, like she stays her whole life without her father now, but Happy kind of becomes her guardian now. And then Hawkeye has his whole family back, and Ant-Man is even like, he's even like living with his daughter and Hope. And then anything else? Let me think. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I really like before I go any further with the scene, I really like the scene where Thanos vanishes too, where Thanos vanished, and he really got what he deserved in that scene, and I remember everyone clapped in that scene. Okay, I just thought I should say that real quick. Let me think. Anything else I should say? And then I really like how the Guardians of the Galaxy like end off too, where Star Lord is gonna try to look for Gamora, and I really like that scene too, where he sees that Gamora is alive, but it's not his Gamora though, and she kicks him in the balls, and he's like, "You missed the first time, you got him both the second time." Let me see this. I guess. Let me think. Oh yeah, and then I really like how the movie ends too with Captain America, where he's supposed to take all the stones back to the original timeline, but like they were supposed to bring him back in 5 seconds, but when he comes back all old because when they went back in time, he decided why not get some of that life Tony told him about. And so what he did was he ended up living the rest of his life from 1940 to now. And so he became all old. Like he lived his whole life was Peggy. He finally got his dance. And then like something and then this whole thing went right. Like he ended up living all of 70 years, and then once he came back he looks like 100 years old already. And then he gives Falcon the shield, and he's like, what do you think? And he's like, I feel like it belongs to somebody else. And he's like, it doesn't. And he's like, do you want to tell me what about her? And he's like, no, I don't think I will. And then the movie ends with Captain America dancing with Peggy with a really satisfying song. And then like he dances with Peggy in the house, and then he kisses her, and then the whole movie ends. Beautiful ending. Beautiful ending. So yeah, and then I really love the end credits too. Like it's not an end credits scene, but I like how the whole end credits shows everyone, like the cast, the whole cast of the whole MCU with their clips from their other movies, and then it even shows their signatures too. Yeah, I would say that's definitely the best like credit scene I've ever seen in a movie, honestly. Let me think. So yeah, I don't even think I have any flaws with this movie, honestly, and easily this movie gets an A+, definitely. Yeah. Um, I hope you all enjoyed this review. This review ended up being way too long. So yeah, but I hope you all enjoyed it though. And if you guys if you guys watch this whole review, you guys are real ones. You guys are cool. Yeah. Bye, and see you all in the next review.